I think the idea of doing a bear themed album is something that, I don't know, it's been there for a while, but especially along the way when I was working with the Kvitravn album, the idea or the vision of it started to emerge. So I don't really know where exactly. It wasn't like one point or one idea. It was more a thing that grew, something I could imagine. That's often how I conceive music. I see it or hear it or feel it. And that's kind of a thing that just started to emerge at some point. So I went from studying a lot of historical material to studying scientific material. To sort of go into what it is about the bear that created all of these stories and all of these myths.
Där ute syng isen sin søvnlokkesång. Ive land, ive tjørn, ive binna og ive bjørn.
The creative concept of Vardruna has always been that the theme is what defines the needs. The instrumental needs, where we record, when we record, what state I'm in when I record. And of course, the sounds, specific dates, anything and everything that can bring us closer to the theme itself. So that, of course, working with the bear for this album, of course, dictated also what type of instruments were chosen for it. For me, on this album, it made a lot of sense to use a more East European form of lyre, which is called kantele, or kankles, or gushli, or it has different names in different regions and it has different shapes. But it's an instrument that is also related to traditions and areas that are also very connected to the bear culturally. We also have the goat's horn, which is also very much related to the bear in terms of it. Like according to old legend or old poetry, it's an instrument that the bear is very fond of it. He hates the sound of the long horns, the longlur, which is instrument type that you used to scare predators with, whereas the sound of the goat's horn is more about calling, and it has that quality in the sound as well.
Our music in general is about that natural connection that is very veiled for us or lost in many cases. We don't see, or many people don't see, the value of being part of nature, and in terms of predators, the value of having predators part of nature, letting them have their rightful place. Because that, of course, for us humans, that will necessarily have a cost. And if you don't understand and acknowledge the value it has, you won't understand and acknowledge the cost. So that is I would say the last part of the album is very much about that, about the understanding how nature speaks through you, but also getting a relation to or an understanding of the balance between cost and value, because it's a premise to even have a debate about bears, or seeing them for the beings they are and the place they have a right to, and the value of preserving this whole jigsaw we call nature intact, how important it is for everything. So realizing that value is a big part of the album. So I think there is like an awareness, awakening around, and this hunger and need for connection, for knowledge that are closer to indigenous knowledge. Animistic traditions are sort of knocking on our doors again, out of a need, I think, a need to connect. So in many different ways, even though I haven't encountered any she-bears or bears in person, I know they've been in the areas where we have been, like in Montana, of course, when we performed there. But in many different ways, it's sort of shown its presence. This past year, or maybe even year and a half since we started the tour, it's been really intense. It's been full of, I would say, full of highlights in a way. When we go out there and have these musical meetings with the audience, it's very humbling, and it's very profound in a way, and sort of a reminder of how lucky we are to get to do this and to get to play a part in a lot of people's lives.
That was actually, I remember that, because it was Einar who called me one day and he said that he had been on a concert with me and Arne, which is also in Vardruna, you know Arne, because we have a duo called Ulangensa. And he had been, we have never released anything yet, really. We have a couple of videos, but we have had a few concerts. And Einar was on one of those concerts. And then he told me that he had decided that, yeah, you are going to be. So he called me one day and said, yeah, I can always try, you know, I can. Yeah, and I was supposed to just be a guest to come up with something on the song called Björkan. Then they asked me, yeah, another song. And suddenly I was just never left. I've just been there since.
I think it was Lindify who asked him to ask me to join the band. Me and Lindify, we were playing in a band called Ulangensa, and I think Einar and Christian, they heard us playing live at Café Opera in Bergen, and she was headhunted from that session, and then she picked me, like, he's going as well. So here I am.
started with a phone call in February 2013. One guy, Einar Selvik, called me. I've heard about him because I heard about this metal drummer in Bergen who was buying lure and horns. The instrument maker told me about him, so Einar needed one to play the Birchbark lure at a festival in Lausanne, Inferno Festival. I listened to the music for about 10 minutes, called my wife, asked it's okay if I am away for some days to Switzerland in March. And then I didn't hear anything more. But then I was asked if I could be in the live setup from 14. Of course I said yes. Of course.
Arne, the percussionist, he asked if I could do one show with a band called Vadruna. And because we were playing a different band in Bergen at the time, and I didn't realize what I was saying yes to, but it sounded like fun. So I did one show with Vadruna, and I was really amazed how fun it was. Also how the music was written and created.
It was in 2017. I got a message from Jose. He asked if I can do a gig in Belgium. Can you play with Vadruna at the Trolls and Legends Festival in Belgium? Jose and I went to Grieg Academia in Bergen. He was finished a little way before me, but that's kind of how we got to know each other.
No, I think it's just gonna dry now.
I was listening to Spotify, then it came up as a suggestion, like, since you like this band, you probably like this band. So I listened to the first album of Vadruna, and then I reached out to Einar through email, telling him that, hi, my name is John and I play these instruments, and should you ever need them live or in studio, then please know about me. And I got a very nice reply back and saying that we didn't need anything right now, but it's always good to know about people like you. So a few months later, I got an email asking if I wanted to try out as a substitute for their Hardanger fiddle player who played that. So
I think that's a big part of it, just experience how people are just slightly different in different areas of the world. Just listen to what they're talking about, what's important for them. It can be a political situation, it can be just like a cultural, musical situation. It's always nice to hear their take on their everyday life and how it is to live there.
Meeting the Turongo Collective in New Zealand, that was definitely a highlight. Learning about the Maori and the people there. But we were taught in some warrior skills with the staff or stick, and that was and the way. I never experienced anything like that before. The way they kind of greet each other and say goodbye. You know, you take your heads like this, all the way close into each other and just breathe. And you do that with everyone. That was a magical moment.
it felt so special, especially at Pompeii. It's so cool to walk around, and all of these theaters have these stone steps, and you can see that they go like this in the middle. So you just know that people have been walking up and down here for like thousands of years and seeing culture, whatever it was, theater or music or whatever. And it's so cool. It really puts things into perspective that we're just one band in the line. And it's really, really cool to be part of that history of that place.
You know the history of this place. The stones have so many memories, and now we have become part of that, of the history of this place, and that's so beautiful. Congratulations.
We heard of these venues for so many years, and we see so many of our favorite bands performing there, and suddenly we are also performing on the same stage as them, and that's really, really crazy.
I have to say that stay in Montana was very special. To be with the Blackfeet Nation was very special, and also my youngest son was with me there. And, he was so greatly included by him, so it was very special.
I really felt the land there. Going and hike there, the hike. We went to up the mountain there was just mind-blowing. And, so magical. And playing for the people there felt, it feels very, I really felt a deep connection there. And it gives you energy to really add. The audience gave you energy that you can use and take on into your instruments.
When we played Fire in the Mountains in Montana, that was in bear territory, so it was a nice feeling to play our concert there on the Blackfeet Reservation, knowing that there were many bears around. Hearing our songs, our serenades to the bear, so that was a nice thing to see. Also interesting to see, like here we are in Norway, we are so not used to having like bears part of our nature, so people don't know how to deal with it, even in the areas where there are bears. So it was interesting to see also how natural it was, they have their way of dealing with it. You take your precautions, you have certain ways of behaving when you're in nature because there are bears around. So yeah, which is the attitude you need to have.
When you're in the middle of it all, it kind of feels like you can't take it in sometimes because it's too much and too big. And like we played in Royal Albert Hall, and then the next day we went to Maida Vale Studios, and that was super cool, absolutely. But it kind of didn't dawn on me until I got home and I opened my door into the living room and I see that, okay, I have David Bowie poster, I have a Beatles poster, I have a Led Zeppelin poster, and they all played in Maida Vale Studio. And it's just like, wow, that is super cool. So it didn't just dawn on me until I got home. It was cool being there, of course, but it was kind of even cooler when I got home.
Taking album songs to the stage for the very first time is always an interesting process. You never know if it's going to work or how it's going to work or if it's going to be a struggle.
When you sort of put on the cloak of a song and you're merging it with the space and with the audience in front of you, it's a completely different beast. And not all songs, I think, work in that format. But you don't know it until you actually try it, how it speaks or how it works in that format.
The stuff that gave birth to everything we sing about and the instruments we use, and it's born out of nature. That really reflects through our sound as well, and our use of sound effects to sort of amplify that natural aspect of it. Or even something as simple as a heartbeat, you know? It does something to you. It puts you in a state of mind. It gives you images. Hertan, we wanted to try and recreate a little bit of the mood we created in the video, which was, of course, a challenging thing because, of course, the video was filmed in northern Finland, out in a forest, and the only light source we had was flying drones, which creates this really special effect, lighting effect, where suddenly the ground, the shadows on the ground around you moves in circles. So it's a bit trippy and a very unique feeling, and we wanted to try and get a little bit of that vibe. The live version as well, try and get that movement from above. At the same time, it's a song about pulse and heartbeat. So that's also a part of it.
For me, the Birna cycle was solidifying who we are. We knew from the beginning when we started talking, also with Einar and stuff, A, he wanted to do things completely different. B, he wanted to put a different focus on different things. C, we knew the scene that we were living on, brought from the outside, Vikings, whatever, was not there anymore.
I think it took some time. Not to everyone, but I think like to a more generic or general public who would associate Vardruna to the Viking scene from the get-go, to make them, you know, to carry forward that it's not only that, it goes way further than that, both in terms of themes or, you know, what the music really is about or what the band is and how they present themselves.
I'm the organizer of Polish shows of Vardruna, and I've had this distinct honor and pleasure of organizing shows for the band for the past 9 years. I think this is one of the biggest shows in the history of the band, individual shows. So this is obviously the largest show we've done so far in Poland. And we've been thinking about this particular venue the famous hall in Wrocław with amazing history for a while now. And it's just amazing that over the years we've been able to make the band grow to such an extent that we can right now sell out such a huge venue and thus escalate this experience and escalate that storytelling.
It's really teamwork. Very often it's Simon or Einar coming up with ideas, point me in directions and make me aware of a venue.
Whether it's Royal Albert Hall or Acropolis or here, I think when you walk into a room that has this personality and history and it's in the walls, you feel it the second you get in there. So there is there's definitely something to it. And it's been a long time since we've played an indoor concert for so many people. We've done it a few times in Russia some years back. It is, of course, a special intensity to gather so many people under a roof for one single purpose. It's a powerful thing to be part of. From the people who get very emotional to people who just, you can see that they are singing along throughout the concert, or they get excited when they hear which song is starting. I don't know, all of these small details and the facial expressions and
yeah, sometimes people are dancing.
Yeah.
You can see the shadows of someone in the background dancing. Yeah.
All of these things, they give us energy in different ways, and they help us connect. That's sort of part of the dialogue, I would say. Of course, it impacts us on stage as well, and sometimes it can be very, very profound to be part of all of the emotions you see in front of you. Yeah, it's hard to not become emotional when you see how much it means to a lot of people, the music, how personal it is for a lot of people, how connected they are to it. It's a beautiful thing.
Also, I've noticed when the lights is on, after we can actually see people very clearly. To me, I always had this impression that people feel very included in a way. All the people don't know each other maybe, or it's like it's not divided into any group. All the people look different or different clothes, and it doesn't matter.
What you're saying is perhaps one of the things I'm most proud of in all of these things we have done. That it's such a broad spectrum of different people who come to our concerts. It's all age groups, it's all ethnicities. To give voice to nature, and I think there is a deep longing in people for a sense of connectedness to our surroundings. That's one thing, but also, you go far back in time to certain types of musicality. You see it's the same everywhere on this planet. Certain things, certain ways of doing rhythm and tonality and even instruments. It's almost like it's in our DNA. And that's what a lot of people say also, that when they first listen to our music, it's like they rediscover something that has always been there, but they didn't know about.
But also the fact that the instruments are not they are nature instruments, so it's nothing auto-tuned there going on. So things are living.
Absolutely. It's animated in a way. Of course, there are many tools we use to tell that story, sounds and how we become one with the music as well, how we express.
And I think also when you travel in your mind, you can do that in a way that you actually, if you 100% are there and believe in that traveling, that you are another place, for example, or you are out in the woods, or you are there, in my opinion.
So my feeling is that people can really take out of Vadruna what they want to take out of it. For certain people, it's just the music and they just enjoy the music. For other people, it's the message. Some other people say, well, this song really resonated with me because I'm aware of the background story. Some people, I think, are fascinated by the Norse history and the stories that the songs create in their heads. So it's been all kinds of answers to that, which I think is a really beautiful thing, that you have, like today, there are 6,000 people in the room and probably each one of them might have a slightly different answer to that question.
I think most of it boils down to storytelling. It's very close to organizing a show of Vardruna, which is also about a story, which is also about a journey in which fans join music and reach those areas of experience that are deeply spiritual, deeply universal, and touch upon those moments in one's life, birth, maturing, the birth of a child or death, those transitory moments. So in this sense, Vardruna transcends music.
For me, Vardruna is not only music. It's we can talk about anything, and it's a natural place to do that. For me, personally, it's a very nice place to be, to kind of freely speak about everything on this earth and beyond, maybe, yeah.
It's very personal, in a way. It resonates deeply in me. So yeah, as a joke, Vardruna is the second family, yeah, because of all of the nice people, both in band and crew, but it resonates on other levels, deeper levels as well. The way I think, what I kind of believe in, it's a kind of part of me. It has allowed me to dig deeper in this part of our roots, in a way. So without Vardruna, I've had to do it by myself, and I'm not sure if that would have happened in this way.
Well, I will feel like it's my entire being. I grew up in the woods. I play wooden instruments. I have a very close relation to nature. Like from the very early start, when I started playing guitar, I used to take my guitar out in the woods and sit out in the woods and play. Yeah, until I got cold. And yeah, so it's a very big part of my life.
I mean, since I joined Vardruna, I have evolved, like, on many levels, both musically and as a person. I don't know, it's something deep with the Vardruna music that resonates, something deep inside of me. Much because of the old instruments and instrumentations, and the songs, obviously, they're very powerful. Like every song is, they touch something differently. I feel deeper now, like I've grown as a human being because of the meeting of so many different kind of cultures and people. Now, back in 2017, I'm just a new person. And well, I kind of grew up with Vardruna in some weird way.
Strangely enough, that we have so different backgrounds, that we all have like our expertise or something special to what we have done before, and then we can try to bring that into this production and see where can we use this expertise. Because I think that's a clever move by Einar, just collecting people that have done something different that he was probably doing at that time, and just asking if they would join him in this like journey of his.
I think a band is you're not better than the people who work for you. So whether it's management or booking agents or your crew or band members in general, you're kind of a representative of the band, and it's such an important part. Yeah, it's definitely I would say it's the extended family.
We have to take care of each other when we're traveling so much, because one day one might be sick or whatever, and since we are this, strange traveling family, it's important that we are looking after each other and trying to, help out as much as possible, because otherwise we're not able to play the shows, and that's, the most important thing that we focus on when we are on tour.
I think both the crew and the band, we are very good in taking care of each other. That is kind of a superpower within the band, I think.
Yeah, it's a lovely gang to work with, band and crew. It's a bit like a family, and they make you feel a part of that family, whether you like it or not, from the very first moment.
The relationship between the band and the crew is like, it's no difference. It's like we're all the same people. We're just friends on tour. It feels like a big family. Everyone it's no cliques. Everyone is hanging around with everyone from day to day. It's something very special.
You can have comfort from others in the band because we know each other so well, and everybody can talk to everybody, band and crew. So it can be the first I meet at breakfast or something, or just for this occasion, that specific person just sit down and talking about how life is at the moment, and then we are supporting each other. When people ask me, isn't it exhausting? Yes, it is. It takes energy, the traveling and shifting of environment and cities and all the time. But to be together with these people and to do what we do gives energy as well.
It sounds a bit like a cliche, but
For the last years, we have spent more time together than we have with our families and friends. It feels like we are in some way siblings because we know each other's ups and downs. We know how we can irritate each other. We know our each other's needs.
Every new member is a family member, I feel, that you actually need at all times. When you're not with your family, it's nice to have these guys as your family. It keeps your bones, your feet on the ground and makes life a bit normal. And also, yeah, I've been with these guys for a long time, so it feels really natural being together.
I have been with them since we were only three in the crew, yeah. I asked Einar first if he has an initial feeling or idea. It could be really vague, but we're quite equal on our views on this music and the setting there. I try to do a bit of this different design, bringing in some extra or other type of fixture, lamp, just to make each song have its own character. And with Birna, we had this song, I think it was Urur, where Eilif stood on the riser. We had a circle there. We liked the monstrosity of him there with the lure. It was quite tall. But that song went out, and we had an option of bringing Eilif up there again. But as he blows the horn, I just wanted that massive push. And you had the contrast, really like to work with the contrast from the really dark to the massive lights.
Einar has a good understanding of what we're doing. He makes sure that we have the tools available to do the job that we need to do. Since he has been touring for a long time himself, both as a musician and as a tech, he knows what's going on. So that's very, very helpful. And there's a lot of trust, which is also good.
We feel very responsible for the whole experience, not just what happens on stage. But we want people to feel from the moment they're even outside the venue waiting to get in, that they're not treated like cattle. And that's something that the band also is very insistent on. Lots of times when we get the chance, especially if it's cold out or raining out, and we are able to, we'll open the doors earlier, let the people in. Even the music that's playing before the show starts, that's part of that experience. It's not just some random playlist. It is music that has been curated by Einar himself, that kind of builds up to the show.
The soundscape of Vardruna it's both powerful and dynamic, and sometimes it's very fragile, other times it's very massive, and then the challenge for me is to get it all sounding clear and powerful at the same time in different acoustic environments. It's quite special to be part of a sort of a musical history traveling, because we bring the old instrument from Nordic countries to the old ancient venues of ancient Greece and Rome, and we feel it's a special travel in history and technology, since we also have a modern stage production in these venues.
So now it's more, it's all about Eilif. Eilif is we're the brothers in fire, I would say. But yeah, He really takes this job seriously. We rehearse on every venue we come into because of the different stages. We don't play on a standard stage setup. So we have to adjust the position of the torches and the amount and where we can ignite his handheld torch and where I can put it out and which way he can walk. So we take much pride in that moment to keep it as special as it is.
Each band member has a unique mix, a unique blend of the different instruments, and they are kind of tailored to their needs. Because if you're a vocalist, you will probably need some other information than if you, for example, play the percussions. It's intense. I mean, I am so close to the artist, so I can hear the audience, I can see what they see almost. I am literally 1 meter from the stage where everything is happening, so it's hard to know if I experience it in any other way than the musicians, but I can feel the adrenaline, I can feel the music.
I experience before show when I go on stage, make sure everything is it's function and ready to go start. Then I feel a little bit of the crowd. And of course the moment after show when we start tearing down, and that's basically just after Einar leave the stage. And that's the moment like you can feel the audience and feel the crowds. But that's a big impact, of course.
It is kind of weird that I never saw them live from the audience, but every show is amazing. The energy that is created from the band performing and the audience responding, it's always a different vibe, and yeah, you can. It's a physical thing, so you don't have to look at anything. You can just feel it in the room, which is quite special.
You can sort of feel it when there's 2 hours left. You start to think about it when there's 1 hour left. You get in the concert clothes and your whole like system starts to mobilize towards the show. And you get more and more ready.
And when 7 o'clock arrives, because we're playing at 8 often, then that's kind of the holy hour. We're into the holy hour. Something is about to happen, so the adrenaline is starting slowly to build. And then usually I run in the hallways a little bit, and I go into. Me and Einar, Arne is joining sometimes, knocking on Lindify's door. And we are warming up with our voices, doing an exercise. That's usually happened like 15 minutes before something. And then we go out, standing back on the side of the stage, getting ready. And I'm usually running behind the stage in the dark and just, doing like, getting into the tension mode, like everything is, because it's, you have to get ready because it's a musical journey you are about to enter. So yeah.
Just getting behind the stage, like about 10 minutes before the show, just to feel the room and sense the presence of the audience. And then we just plug in our in-ears, and then we hear the audience as well. So yeah, it's like getting in tune. And feel the buzz in the body, just bringing it all the way out in the fingers.
One of the things we always do is also to connect in that sense, that we all gather and we hug each other, the whole team that's the last thing we do before we go on stage. Everyone. So I don't know, it's a great sense of community.
It isn't. It's so important. Sometimes you hug one person twice because it's dark and you haven't noticed that. Oh, but it's better to hug twice than not have hugged.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody has to be hugged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sandra?
We start backstage, everyone's standing in line, and it's dark. And then we start walking on stage, and we know that it's about to get real. And I go on stage, I pick up my instrument, I pick up my bow, I hear the raven sounds, and it's dark, and I just try to breathe in my nose and out my mouth and just relax. And I get this. And then I start playing, and I get this rush of just hearing my instrument in this big, beautiful room on this huge speakers. The drums start and everyone comes in, and then we're a full band, and it's like a rush, like a wave of power through me, and I feel through everyone as well, and that we're just kind of like washing over the audience with all our energy. It's a beautiful moment.
I think that this transmits also beyond the stage, that it comes from a place that is real. None of us go on stage as someone else than we are. We're not doing theater. It's just us expressing ourselves and connecting and to the words we sing and the room and the people.
Obviously, the moment, at the end of the show when people usually or hopefully stand up and applaud the band, that's always a proud moment. Not just for the band, but it's a coronation of the entire team's efforts on that day.
Of course, it is professional involvement, and we work with the best people there are, but it's also, I think, it comes from the heart. Like, everyone in this project is involved genuinely and just do their utmost best in any occurrences to make it work. And we're a really strong and good team because everyone is carrying their own weight and then some, always going the extra mile and relying on each other all the time. And I think that's what makes it so strong. It's a mix of people wanting to do good for Vardrona, because we all get so much out of being together, doing those shows, or promoting the band, or managing the band, or we all get so much out of that on the personal level as well, that the involvement and the consideration and the effort that every single person puts into this project make it the way it is on the personal level as well.
I feel very lucky to have these people in my life and this this ship that a lot of people feel it's good to be on board. It's a gift in life, and I'm truly grateful for that part. And something I miss when I'm not in it, the same way I miss my own family when I'm here. I miss this family when I'm back home. So. Yeah, it's the end of a long tour, and yeah, I definitely feel that. Have to kind of dig. Well, there is no half-assing this, you know. I have to do it full on every time. So, but kind of feel, yeah, I feel I have to dig deep on these. Now, the closer I get to the end of the tour, the deeper you have to dig.
And this last song is sort of born out of that thought, because who is going to sing you and me across the day we pass when all the songs and all the traditions are gone? This is a song about death. It's a song about dying. It's a song about singing, about honoring someone you have lost. It's a song about crossing over, but also about letting go. This is heaven.
I lost my father during this last tour, and that, of course, that's not. That stirs up a lot, I think, when and of course being on tour in that process was both hard and but also beautiful in a way. To go on stage and sing Helvägen, that was it became very real. Yeah, it took on a new form, perhaps even. So suddenly a song can mean something else, and then it takes on a different form. It lives its own life outside of me or us. I'm looking forward to a break from touring. At the same time, I also feel the melancholy for that it's the end of something, you know, that it's the end of a cycle. So there is this death process going on, which includes a mourning period. It's been such a dense, intense run, full of, in a way, so many milestones in terms of where we've been, the stuff we've been allowed to do, given the opportunity to do. So it's going to be good to also have some proper time to just digest and let all of that sink in, integrate it.
Norrstyr där aldrig Kvemer sergalan getur Der fe frende Der sjalvrit saman Jeg veit heim aldri dør Domer om dødane kveld
To me, Birna is very much about the cyclic nature, perhaps in particular, the wild. That's one of the things I think the bear can teach us, because it's so profoundly cyclic in how it represents itself to us and how it lives. Modernity and modern society, it demands us to have the same tempo, do the same things, eat the same food, all year around, and I don't think it's really the natural thing to do. It's not what we used to do when we lived closer to nature. It's not what every other being on this planet does. So this idea that we are sort of separate from all of that just doesn't make any sense. Sort of hibernation state after a long tour, and it can be, of course, it can give a lot of room for creativity. At this point, for me, it's been important to leave space for life and to leave space for creativity to come to me instead of chasing it. I don't think it's a very wise thing to go from tour to studio without allowing life to happen in between. That's where inspiration comes and the need to say something or not. It's just really good to have time to also reflect and look back on things that have gone down the last few years. I really feel that the end of this tour and this album cycle, it kind of marks the end of a bigger cycle for me and for Vardruna. So the need to leave space and time for this regeneration is what feels right at this point. There isn't a clear border between me and my art, but of course Vardruna it's also more than that. Whatever it is in studio and in my heart and head, it is something else when we are on stage. Yeah, so it has many roots or branches that are very important to me. Whether it's about things in my personal life or in my artistic sphere or in my work sphere, or it's and then it's something else for the people who connect to it, for the audience. It's probably different for everyone how they connect to Vardruna and that whole thing, but I think everyone feels that sense of family, of tribe, of being part of something that is bigger than us.
kvervar stött på sin sti. Skogens djuring hev krabba i hi. Drömmer sött på ei mosesäng. Om summande biar i blomsteräng. Solio kvervar stött på sin sti. Dagen väx i ett krympande hi. Djuringen bläs och möjane lockar. Svartrosten kvittrar som rismålsklockar. Där ute syng väras i vakne vise. Ive land, ive tjörn, ive binna och ive björn. Där ute syng väras i vakne vise. Ive åker och äng ut ur hi och dvalesäng. Ive binna och björn ut ur hi och dvalesäng.